Welcome back to your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of your home sold guaranteed realty. Now, Barb, most people selling a home have some very different ideas of that home's value. Some of them believe that they should price it at the very top of the price range. Others want a very quick sale. Others have no idea whatsoever. So, how does a home seller price their home to get the very best price?
Well, Richard, I'm different than probably most agents. A lot of agents will be out there saying, "Oh yeah, price it high." And then if it doesn't work, you can test it and walk the price down. But according to the National Association of Realtors, when you do that, you actually net less money. You're better off being priced what I call very realistically right out of the gate. And all the buyers are looking for new stuff. So the first 10 to 30 days are crucial to be priced right. Um, and then, a lot of people price their home based on what they want to net out of the home. I wish it worked that way, but it doesn't. It's what a buyer's willing to pay. So you have to look at all these different things. You have to look at your competition. You have to look at what other similar homes have sold for, and also factor in the market. And you really can't rely on those, what I call Zestimates, or basically automated online valuations. Realtor.com has one, Zillow has one, Redfin has one. First of all, those computers have not seen your home. They don't know what's special about your home. They may not know whether or not it's a good location. They certainly can't tell if you have views. And when I researched this, per AI, like Zillow's estimate just averages the homes that are available for sale. So the way I look at it is, if 2 out of 3 homes are not selling, their opinion of value is based on the ones that are not selling, which is kind of a mistake. So it's not the right number. Anyway, those computers really don't know your house, and you need somebody that takes a more detailed forensic look at its value. I'll give you a story. We just sold this home. It was up in Florissant, and it's a cute house. It has a detached garage. It's on a couple acres. It's in Florissant. Has nice views, but it's not cosmetically in great condition. The plumbing doesn't work. It has some issues, but it was owned by the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. And what they did was they agreed with our opinion of value. They priced it, what I call very, very realistically. We had a huge bidding war right out of the gate. We had, I think, 4 or 5 offers, and it ended up selling for about 50, 60,000 over asking price, right? So that's where you get the best offers, if it looks like the best deal. And if you have multiple offers, nothing could be better. It's like you're in the command seat, getting to pick whoever the best buyer is for your home. And so you really can't rely on those, whatever your neighbor's home sold for necessarily, because your neighbor's home might be more updated than yours. It might have better views than yours has. It might have a better floor plan. All these things factor into whether or not a buyer wants to make an offer. I was just talking to one of my buyers this morning, and he said something that kind of struck me. He goes, "Yeah, I know we made a low offer on that property, but it wasn't like the house. Like, if we move there, we're going to keep it for a couple of years and then resell it and get into the neighborhood that we really want to be in." But it had a good location, but it needed some work. So, if they pass on our offer or don't counter, it's okay. I'm okay with it, right? And so what I hear all the time from home sellers, they'll get a low offer. They won't even counter. They'll get indignant and turn their nose up and go, "How dare they insult me? I just lowered the price." But at the end of the day, you've got a buyer that's ready, willing, and able to buy your home. At least try to engage and negotiate with them. You don't know what the buyer would have accepted if you didn't counter. If you just told them, "Go away, you're not good enough," it's offensive to some buyers and they won't come back. So, you got to love on the buyers these days. It's not like it used to be, where there was a huge bidding war on everything, and the seller could be tough on everyone. But at the end of the day, the real opinion of value is not what you think. It's not what your agent thinks. it is what the buyer is willing to pay. And if you reject that offer, that's okay. I sold one early in this month where the first offer we got out of the gate was a lowball offer as is. Then when we got subsequent offers, she said, I should have taken that first offer. I want to shoot myself for not doing it, because they didn't really net her much more. So it's a very forensic decision about where you're going to price your home. It's really, really critical. So you figure out value based on first, similar recent sales. Why do we care about those? The only reason we care about those is if your buyer's getting a loan and they're going to have an appraisal done, they have to use similar sales to substantiate the value. Sometimes I put a lot more weight into what your current competition is. Is there new construction around the house? Are there similar sales that are better than yours that are priced lower? And a huge factor, absolutely, are the market conditions, right? So if the market is softer and there's more inventory and there's more choices, guess what? The buyers are going to have more choices. They may not jump on your house if you're just a little bit off in price and or presentation. So you have to understand that even though you look at similar sales maybe to get a pretty good idea what it will sell for, it's not that determines the value. It's not the appraiser that determines the value. It's what the buyer is willing to pay. And so you have to really understand the whole picture and the trends. And as far as negotiating, when you do get an offer, basically pricing is a form of marketing. Pricing is a way to get offers, right? If you priced it right, the buyers are going to go, hey, yeah, I want to make an offer on that house, right? If you're overpricing, they won't make an offer. They'll look at it and they'll pick it apart. Pick. I don't like this. I don't like that. And sometimes it's just nonsensical reasons. And you want to appear online. Your first showing is online. That's the first opportunity for a buyer to eliminate your home. And that's probably where most of them are eliminated. So generally buyers are searching in $50,000 to $100,000 price increments in their price range. So don't price too high for negotiating room, because it could put you out of that price range where the buyer's like, I don't even want to go see that house because they're asking too much and I don't think they're coming down. If you price a home, what I call very realistically versus optimistically, that is actually the way to get the most money. Another thing is people feel like they've won if they're just 100% takers, right? I'm going to get this fabulous deal on this house. And the win-lose negotiations often do not work. I remember I had a listing last year where the buyer came along and made an offer, and it was a low ball offer, and she asked for closing costs. And oh, by the way, she included in her request a brand new roof because her insurance company said, if the roof is more than 10 years old, we want a new one. And I'm like, anything else? And she goes, oh, I'm just trying to do a win-win negotiation. I'm like, oh my God, this is not right. Now, if you come in closer to asking price and then you ask for all that stuff, now we're talking. Now we can probably play. But if it's all about you and not about, back and forth, it's never going to work. Another negotiating mistake I see a lot is home sellers, if they do get a lowball offer, they get really mad. Okay. Don't get mad. Some agents are telling their buyers to fish for a low price, and you don't know what the buyer's really willing to do. I had one last year where we were priced at 700,000, and it was the agent's opinion that drove the offer at 600,000. Her first offer came in 100,000 below asking price. And this home all day was worth 700, right? But she was looking for the lowest, worst comps in order to support her opinion of value. That's the way she articulated value to her client. The seller's like, no, thank you. He didn't even counter. Second round, she comes back with a 650 offer. He still says, no, thank you. Then about a week went by, a week plus, probably a week and a half. And the next offer came in at full price. And you know what she said? Well, my buyers decided this is the right home for them. So I think the buyers had decided at the 600,000 offer that it was the right home for them. And it was the agent that talked them into making this dumb lowball offer, which really could have caused that buyer to not get the house. All it would have taken was somebody else to jump in there and make a reasonable offer at that time, and they'd have been out. So you don't want to waste time with that. If it's the right house for you, if you love it, if you can substantiate the value, give them a decent offer. That's what I'm recommending. However, you never know what they're hearing from their agent. I had another property that actually had a bidding war, and I told the agent there were multiple offers and we're waiting for the highest and best on Monday. She told her buyer not to make their best offer, and they didn't get the house. And then, of course, they're mad at me on Carilla DeVille because they didn't get the house. So I'm not even the decision maker. But at the end of the day, they got bad advice for their agent. So you don't want that to happen. And also make sure you're communicating. You know, sometimes just getting a few questions answered will help things go a lot smoother. And you have to kind of temper your response according to what the market is doing right now. Recently, I had a buyer under contract, and the buyer needed more time because he sold his house, but the divorce attorney took the money and, I don't know, sent it around the world. It got lost for a while. She was supposed to pay off bills, but she didn't. And we were asking the seller, hey, give us time. We're still in the game. Instead, they're like, if you don't close on this date, you got to give us, if you want to stay in contract, you got to give us $2,000. And they treated him like in such a bad manner that it totally put a bad taste in his mouth about that property. And it's still on the market a month later, and he didn't want to go back to it. So all they had to do was treat him nicely, and he could and would have bought that home. But you know, at the end of the day, it's all about negotiating, and you have to try to work with people when they have situations come up, as long as they can perform. And I think he could. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice. It airs every Saturday morning. And Barb, you always have hot new listings to tell us about. What do you have this week?
I do. I have a couple of great properties. One on 35 acres out in Yoder, a nice little manufactured home, needs a little work, priced at $179. Another one up in Florissant, another manufactured home priced at $140 on 2 acres. A beautiful home in the southwest part of town. They just lowered the price to $274,999. A great home on Mead Avenue, nice rancher with a 1 car at $325. Another VA repo that needs a little work. That's why it's priced at $300. Great home up in Woodland Park. Has 3 bedrooms, 1.25 baths, 2-car garage at $344. Another home owned by the VA down in the Lorson Ranch area at $365, and a beautiful ranch on Solar Face Court under $400,000. Fabulous 2-story in Briargate on Stable Court at $540. Beautiful home on 1 acre on Ross Drive with a 4-car garage, priced at $759. A great home on Stevens Drive in Florissant at $400,000, and a home that just got fresh carpet and updated paint on Capitol Peak Way at $519, and a beautiful home that backs to NORAD on Broadmoor Bluffs Drive at $649, as well as many others. To find out about all of our homes, plus our coming soon homes, we have one coming up on Judge Orr that's on 80 acres that has an auxiliary living unit, lots of garage spaces, barn, all kinds of stuff. It's amazing, and a gorgeous lot on Hidden Valley. Go to barbhasthebuyers.com and click on our featured properties to find out more. And if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com.